We're going to call the meeting to order at 6:30. This is the CRA 10th of December meeting, and we're going to begin the meeting with an invocation from Board Member Hay, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and flag, led by David Merker.
That's a surprise. I don't have my notes.
Let us pray. Gracious Father, as we come to the close of another year, 2013, we're thankful for your many blessings. We're grateful today for the opportunity to serve the city of Boynton Beach and its citizens. During this time of the season, please, Lord, open our hearts. May we learn to be givers and not takers, for only then can we feel blessed. Make us instrument in your peace, that peace might fill our world. May your abundant mercy touch all of our lives. May we learn to live with love, that we might know of heavenly delight while still here on earth. May the miracle of this holiday season be a miracle in our hearts. And to God be the glory. And all God's children said,
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Here. Here.
Here.
yes.
Here. Thank you. Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Show. Motion is unanimous. Informational items and disclosures by board members, CRA staff. I'll start with Vivian, the staff. Any disclosure information?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Board member Kara George?
Yes, I have no disclosures, conflicts, but I do have some informational items. I would like to wish our city manager a happy birthday. Today is her birthday, and next year's a real big one. And she is enjoying the evening with her wonderful husband at an undisclosed dining location, and I wish them the best. She is not only a consummate professional, she's a wonderful person. I also would like to thank our mayor and chair for his presentation at the League of Cities luncheon. It was impressive, and it showed in this time the team of hope and what they're doing is really something great. And when you can help people get a leg up and move towards being productive, it's a great thing. And I want to thank him for that presentation and what the team of hope is doing under his leadership.
Thank you.
I also had the pleasure recently of attending the Chamber of Commerce ribbon cutting for Hurricane Grill Wings, a new business in Renaissance Commons. Although it's not in our CRA, it is doing something that I have been talking about for too long, and that is bringing jobs to Boynton. They brought 100 new jobs to our city, and they are to be commended for it. And if you get a chance, they've got more than just wings. They've got other stuff, so it's a nice big menu. And we wish them the best. And this past Saturday, I want to commend our staff and all of the other parties involved, from Parks and Rec to risk management to police and fire, for a great job with the holiday extravaganza. This was, in 34 years, the largest parade that we have ever had in our city. And that speaks volumes. That shows interest and pride in their city, and all the groups that participated had a fun time. We had a wonderful tree lighting, menorah lighting, and it's just great to see it, and it was a nice turnout, and I want to commend everybody involved because it was a first-class operation. And brought to you by your CRA. And with that, I also want to wish two people that have just undertaken campaigns. I want to wish them the best, and that is Board Member Casello in District 4, and of course in District 2, the wonderful Mac McCrae. So I wish them the best, and because before you know it, folks, it'll be March, and we need people to participate, so get out and vote. So, thank you.
Board Member Hay?
Without repeating what Board Member Carrigeorge, I would just like to add that we had an opportunity to visit Yolanda Thomas' family. She's a veteran, I think it was Marine.
Navy.
And her house was decorated by the Florida Power and Light and the young kid, the police department.
Explorers.
Excellent. It was $1 million facial expression when she drove up and turned into her yard and saw all of the lights and all of the people. She's a single mother with 4 kids, and she was very happy that was done for her. So we did bring some joy into a family here in Boynton Beach. I also like to mention on the fun side, I had the distinct pleasure of going to the 44th annual Tri-City Barbecue
Oh, yeah.
in Pahokee. I mean, that was a tough job, but somebody has to do it. The mayor and myself had the opportunity to participate in that, and let me just say that the people in Pahokee really know how to roll out the red carpet in the dirt. They gave us corn and green beans to bring back. It wasn't enough to feed a family of 4, but maybe a family of 1. But that was very, very well done, and it's always a big event. I would like to encourage those of you who will and can next year to go out, because even though I won't be on the board here, I plan to still go. Okay, so I encourage you to go out. It's a wonderful event, and try it out. You like it?
Good ribs and cornbread, too.
Good ribs and cornbread.
Board Member Merker?
Do you ever look in the mirror and what do you see? Well, sometimes when I look in the mirror, I don't want to admit it, but I see maybe a grumpy old man. Why do I see a grumpy old man? Well, I wasn't blessed with children or grandchildren. I've not had that opportunity. But something happened that made this grumpy old man smile, laugh, and start understanding. And that was this holiday parade this past Saturday. I had the privilege, the honor of sitting in a car, and there was the children waving, talking to me. I said, my God, this grumpy old man, I don't want to be a grumpy old man. I want to wave and smile, and I felt good all over. So I thank, with a passion and a desire, the CRA and all the workers of the city for putting such an event together. I thank the people because I'm in the position that I am. And I am no longer a grumpy old man. Thank you.
Grumpy old man.
Board Member Casello?
Yeah, I'd just like to start off with a little bit of sad news. We had a passing of a active Boynton Beach firefighter who's passed much too early in life. His memorial service will be Monday. So just my condolences out to the Boynton Beach Fire Department. Also attended the ribbon cutting at the Hurricanes, and Peter and Tom out there, the owners. It's a great place, crowded. It was, full of life. And the mayor was there and suggested that maybe Boynton Beach could use a hurricane in wings too, which was a great idea. We appreciate that, Mayor.
Yeah.
Also attended the FPL house lighting. That was the holiday parade was a good time had by all. And also most of us attended the Veterans Memorial Park ceremony, the 9/11 Pearl Harbor ceremony that was held at Veterans Memorial Park, which was very touching to see veterans and firefighters together. Thank you.
Board Member Buchanan?
Not repeating a whole lot of stuff. One little different twist for me on the holiday parade is that I drove a car in the parade for the Children's Schoolhouse Museum. I had a cat in a hat with me.
That it?
That's
Okay.
it. And no disclosures. No conflicts.
Well, things I attended have already been mentioned, so I don't have anything to add to that. We'll go to announcements and awards. There's none. We'll go to consent agenda. Anybody? I haven't heard anybody remove anything from the consent agenda, so we can go on from there.
Just nice to see grants happening in Board Member Hayes' neighborhood for a
You got that
change,
right.
and
Yay.
you know,
Okay.
And the Gertrude Sullivan would say it's about
yep,
time.
about time.
Any questions on the public comment log? Well, there is none. So, CRA 2014 CRA holidays are in your backup. We'll go to public comment. Anybody in the public wish to address the commission may do so. Give your name and address for the record. Try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First of all, Mike McCray, 806 Northwest 4th Street, Boynton Beach, Florida. First of all, I'd like to say to Councilman Ken Spillis, you're not new, but welcome. I'd like to say to the board, also the CRA staff, citizens of Boynton, for however way you celebrate the holiday season, I wish you all the best. May you all have a safe, happy, and prosperous 2014. God bless and keep each of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same
Thank
to you.
Dr. Piotr Blas, 113 West Tara Lakes Drive, Boynton Beach, Florida, 33436. So first of all, Happy Hanukkah just passed. Merry Christmas to everybody. I spent some time traveling to Peru and came back. It seems Surco, which is part of Lima, is quite ready to be sister city of Boynton. We could discuss that. It's quite a fascinating place. And as for Pahokee, I need to tell you that my student Rita Palmer has been teaching mathematics there for about 25 years. So we have great connection, and it's wonderful that we connected with Pahokee. Right next to Pahokee is Brighton, where there is the Seminole Reservation. Also, perhaps we should visit sometime over there. As you know, I am determinedly and doggedly working to build up the University of Boynton. At the moment, we meet at the Palm Diner every Wednesday, 4 to 7. Quite a number of students are coming and discussing very, very exciting projects. Maybe one that I will remind you of is that we are the closest place to the Gulf Stream in the United States. So we're talking about using the energy of the Gulf Stream to bring energy to our city, and that's a very exciting and realistic project. As to the hopeful, well, actually, no, let me just be, I think the University of Boynton future location is this old house over here. You all know which one I mean, and so I intend to work with you to get this wonderful building rebuilt. And now our District 1, with Merkel and myself running for office, I think we will work hard to somehow get that building ready to be the University of Boynton. God bless you, and this is the best city in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the commission this time on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will close public hearing, move to old business. First item is status of the One Boynton Canner and Pentaluga project. And seeing as that's item on the agenda, I just want to say that I did have a lunch meeting with Davey Camalier, who was one of the participants in that project, so I wanted to put that on record that I'd met with him. I'll turn it over to Vivian.
Thank you, Chair. This project has been something we've been trying to work towards for a while, since the board put into policy that the CRA would create incentives for office and a downtown office market. Canner Pinaluga approached us in January about possibly locating downtown, and we in turn approached One Boynton, which is owned by Mr. Camalier, the old Bank of America site, for context for the audience. And we looked at possibly putting them there. And we've spent a lot of time back and forth between the three parties, the CRA, One Boynton, and Cantor Petalooga. And where we're at this point is that we're too far apart. We don't have enough money to make the other parties whole as to what they want to come here. Cantor Petalooga wants us to pay for structured parking. That is not financially possible for the CRA, quite frankly. The project would not throw off enough TIF to even cover the cost of structured parking. The cost of the land from One Boynton exceeds what the CRA has budgeted for land acquisition, and we tried to get Cantor Petalooga to see if they would make up the difference, and they would not. So that's kind of where we're at now, and we're in the 12th month of this effort, and I don't see right now, because of the land cost at the site and because of this particular tenant's demands, that we're going to kind of come to the middle. I think in the do-si-do, we've come closest to being in the middle, but, you know, CRA has with what we offered. But, you know, if the other two parties, if we can't get there, I think at this point it's best to terminate the RFP, and when the property owner has a development that they want to do there, we've always said, since I've been here, to Mr. Camillier, when you have a development, we're willing to work with you to make that happen, which would include that property on the corner. We've always said that. However, we have to follow the process which is set in place by State Statute 163, which would either be an RFP or an intent to dispose, notice of intent to dispose. So, however, since he has no development or developer on the hook at this point, leaving it open, I don't think it is there's no purpose to that at this time. So my recommendation to the board is to terminate the RFP until such time that he has something more
Concrete.
Yes, concrete in hand, bird in the hand.
I will just let me say I did meet with Mr. Camillier, and I felt like we put everything we could on the table. We offered money, we offered land, as much money as we had, and much land as we could. I think we were, in some cases, I think maybe some of the board members even felt like we gave maybe too much. But anyway, that we did. We tried our hardest to make this deal come to fruition. I talked to Mr. Cantor, and Petalooga brought nothing to the table. They wanted everything basically for free. They wanted the land for free. They wanted us to pay for parking. They brought nothing. And so I talked in my discussion with Mr. Camillier, I told him as far as I was concerned, I figured the deal was over. And he agreed with me. He says from his perspective, he had no more that he was going to give. So at least that's where we were at when I had my discussion with him. Mr. Merker.
Yes. I'd like to first start off by saying kudos, applause to both Vivian. I think she's done a very good job in discussing and arbitrating, and I'd also like to applaud the mayor. I know his heart and soul, like the rest of us on the commission, would very much like to have had this go forward. I, like everyone else, had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Camillier, and unfortunately sometimes you find yourself talking to a wall. The only thing I would like to add to that is, though things seem negative, the door sometimes opens up. And though personally I concur with Vivian and what she's suggesting, I'm just hoping that there's how should I say, a bolt of lightning that may hit both the attorneys and Mr. Camillier, that maybe they will come back on the table. On something like this, I hope we never have to say the deal is done until we have somebody else. So thank both of you for doing an excellent job.
Mr. Buchanan?
Mr. Chair, sadly, I'd like to move to terminate the RFP.
I have a motion
Second.
to terminate the RFP. I have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Show the motion is unanimous. Okay, that takes us to consideration of request from HFH SPBC CLT Inc. for additional down payment assistance for the Ocean Breeze West project.
Chair, as you recall, a couple months ago, there was discussion about that this project, the Ocean Breeze West project, which is 21 single-family homes in the heart of Boynton, which is the first new subdivision in that neighborhood in many, many years. It was really a joint project between the CDC and Habitat, and the CDC was having a little bit of hard time getting their houses done in a quick fashion to the HUD deadline. And so the board decided, let's let the Habitat complete because they were getting their houses done quicker. However, Habitat at that time said, well, they would need subsidy like the CDC had to get their the moderate houses done because they do not do moderate housing. That is not their mission. And the CDC did have subsidy from NSP3 to do the moderate housing. However, Habitat does not have that. We had allocated under the budgeting process $60,000 based on conversations with Mike Campbell at that time for that subsidy for those 3 moderate houses. However, when he went to, I think it's Palm Beach County Housing Finance,
Yes.
They had, I guess, come back with some new appraisals and things like that. So, after our budget process, they came back with new appraisals, and the appraisals went down. So they need additional subsidy, and I'll let Mike explain that to you.
Okay, we're looking.
Good evening.
Mike Campbell, Habitat for Humanity, 181 Southeast 5th Avenue, Delray Beach, Florida. Thank you all for the opportunity to stand here, and thank you for the approval of the first $60,000 for the Ocean Breeze West project. As we've been working with the Palm Beach County Housing Finance Authority since last June to come up with a $500,000 line of credit to provide the affordable housing that's outside of our mission, so that we were not using our dollars and our fundraising dollars to build the moderate income homes. In the process of applying for that, they needed some additional securities from us, and we could not legally leverage our homeowner mortgages for this process. So we took all of the land trust mortgage and the land trust land that we had, and we put that up, and we put the land that's actually the homes are being built on, the structures themselves are up for it, and we had a shortfall of about $180,000. In August, when the board approved up to $300,000, I used that information to go to the Housing Finance Authority and told them that we would get a letter of up to $180,000 from the CRA. I was not aware, or I did not pay attention to the $60,000 was for one home. I made the assumption that it was $60,000 a home for up to 5 homes, but we only have to build 3 currently, so it would make it $180,000. When I went back to the Housing Authority, they told me that they could not approve the loan unless I had a letter from the CRA stating that. I went back to them explaining that I could not get the letter, and they asked me how much could I receive, and we did the work, and we determined that we needed about $43,960 per home, or roughly $44,000 per home. So I went back to the Housing Finance Authority, and they said that if we could get a letter from the CRA stating to having subsidy up to $132,000 in total for the project, that they would go ahead and release the funds for the construction loan of $500,000. Now, our current estimates, as you see in your packet, we have $62,350 per home for the site preparation, architectural pad, and block work. We had $18,000 roughly in the roofing and exterior package. The interior is $23,000. The skilled trade is $23,000. And then the labor and development fees and other support are $44,950. That $44,950 is actually our volunteer labor who is going out to do the work to keep the costs down and keep the cost affordable. But because it's outside of our mission, we have to charge for that labor, as we discussed at the June meeting here at the CRA. So the total is $172,000. The appraisal on the 4-bedroom came back at $132,000, which is far better than the $93,000 we started at 9 months ago. There is a 3% requirement down on the home for $3,960. So the mortgage financing is $128, and we're short $43,960. So what I would ask is that we have the opportunity to increase the subsidy from the $60,000 to $132,000, or up to $132,000. And I will do everything in the best interest of the CRA, the city, and Habitat to not exceed or even reach that. But that's what I need, a letter for the Palm Beach County Housing Finance Authority.
Board Member Merker?
I'm not saying I'm for or against what you're requesting. What I am personally, I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but I would like not to vote on this. I'd like to be able to speak to our director and our attorney on this and get a little more detail before I vote on this.
Well, we can get it. You can ask her right now.
Ask me right here. I want to ask Mike a question, if that's okay,
Go
Chair.
ahead.
Mike, would we be able to have a soft second on the house?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that
Thank
question.
you.
I didn't hear your question.
Could we have a soft second mortgage on the house?
Soft second?
That means it stays on the house and till they sell it, and then we would get our money back, or it would go off over time, similar to how the cities does.
Okay, so am I hearing correctly, because I would have preferred a one-on-one, that you're recommending, can I use that way of presenting it, that you're recommending that we do follow his request?
If you want these moderate homes, they require more subsidy in this project. They do.
You would say yes?
Yes.
Ken, is there any comments that you would like to say?
No, it's a legitimate expense of CRA funds, but having a mortgage would be appropriate.
Okay.
Chair.
Board Member Hay?
And you're basing this basically on the estimated appraisal that came in at 132.
That is the most recent appraisal.
And then we'd already, we did the 60, so 62 would be the number that you're going for, 62,000.
The difference is 62 that they would need, but it's all going to depend on what buyer comes in, what they qualify for in a mortgage. Some buyers will qualify for a higher mortgage. So that number on each house could go up or down. So it's not an exact subsidy per house, just FYI. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It could be less depending on how they come across. We have 3 buyers in right now at Florida Community Bank. Florida Community Bank is working on getting the approvals forward. They've gone through some structural changes and applied more work to less people so that they could save some money somewhere along the way. So we haven't received the approvals yet. So we look forward to those before the first of the year, and we'll know more. But right now our shortfall is $44,000 per home, and there's been essentially $20,000 allocated. So we're short $24,000.
I got you. Okay. You're doing a great job in there, and it really looks good. That neighborhood is long overdue for something like this. I have no problem with it.
Chair George?
Yes. Hey, Mike, would you have a problem if we did a soft second on the 130, on the one, it's going to be 122 inclusive?
I don't think I have to go back and look because of the lease fee and because of the structure of the sale of the homes, because it's an equity-based sale. What we've done with the bank is we have written an agreement with the bank that if the house went into foreclosure and the CLT could not afford to purchase it back, that the bank would receive the land and the home. And currently we don't see that as an issue on any of these processes. So I don't think we can encompass all of it as you suggested.
Like I said, I just wanted to put it out there. I know it would make it more difficult for you. I know that. But I also noticed that, and one of the things that we're seeing is that the values are increasing.
They are.
And I think that you won't have an issue if there's a second there in getting that back to us as each one closes. I really believe that. Because if you look over the last 4 to 5 months, the moderate level homes are increasing in value throughout the county. At
Correct.
least that's what I'm seeing, okay?
You're right, but because it's a land trust and because there's some other stipulations, and because the 133 is on a 4-bedroom, the 2-story homes we're building are 3-bedroom homes with 2.5 baths.
Right.
They're going to come in similar, but I can't guarantee what the appraiser is going to provide for us. I mean, right now, the appraiser is using our own homes as the basis for the next appraisal unless they go 18 miles north of here to Lake Worth and use the Lake Worth properties. And so we're struggling there a little bit. The subsidies that were set forth to the faith-based TDC aren't coming back to us to help in this project. And right now, we know that they have 2 of their 3 homes that are currently built with people in it, and there's no site for the one on 6th Avenue right now for someone to move in. And they just started construction. They did break ground and put in get the pad work ready for their other 2 properties. So they're working towards it, but we don't see, where that's going to be, and we don't know who they're going to put in. We're assuming that they're going to have another moderate family. They have 1 moderate and 1 low in the 2 that they're currently in, but we don't know what they have. So we're assuming right now that the CLT is building 3 moderate homes in that community in the center, and the faith-based CDC will have another moderate home, so we'll reach our 5. So we don't know that yet.
It would be nice if that moderate was on 6th. To be very candid about it.
No, I mean,
Board Member Casello?
What happens if we do agree to this and it's not enough to finish what you need to have finished?
it will be enough.
Can you guarantee that?
Yes, I can.
That's pretty good.
That's a
And I-
declarative
point of-
statement on your part.
And we,
I
my
can
question is,
guarantee that.
my question is to Vivian, if we approve this, where's the money coming from?
And I have a correction here. It is 72, I'm sorry. I have a correction in the typographical error, 72.
72.
72, and it's going to, and I'm recommending, since I haven't gotten a warm and fuzzy on the Boynton Beach Boulevard project recommendation there, that it come out of that line item, because we have $298,000 in that line item, that it come out of there. A soft second with that, how that can work is we get paid back if the house sells, if there's equity there to pay it back. What typically happens in there is the longer the people stay, the more it wears off. And this happens the same with the city's SHIP program. If they stay there 10 years, they burn it off. It encourages people to stay in the home. It encourages home ownership, basically. We can word it that way if you would like, and that's how our program, we had a similar program before, down payment assistance. We can look at doing the same kind of thing if that would be something you'd like to do. It encourages people to stay in the home, and you've probably sat here and forgiven some of those mortgages during your tenure as commissioners. So.
Are you asking us, now I didn't understand what your 72 was, what are you asking us to approve?
That's a correction on the
132?
recommendation. My recommendation is to approve 72 out of the line item of the Boynton Beach Boulevard planning improvement project.
What does that leave us in there for a balance?
That would, well, I'd have to ask Susan, but it's probably going to leave you about 220, 230.
$126,000.
And that will do it, the 72 will do what you need?
In addition to the 60 that was already approved.
Right, makes it
Yes.
132 total.
Right.
I got you now, okay.
But with the language that we've got that soft second in place as well.
And
And I got another question on that. We have, in essence, 2 options with this, Vivian. We can either take it out of this when they sell and have it repaid then, or we can drag it over a 10-year period, or even a 15-year period if need be. That's something, I personally, from a cash flow standpoint, would like to see it happen at the sale, but there may not be enough at the sale, okay? And on some of these, I don't think there will be, okay?
I mean, the subsidies for the sale.
Right.
I mean, that's where it comes. We have, I think, 5 homes currently under the CRA soft second program with $50,000 on it. The on 7th and on 2nd. And we don't have a problem with that. We can make good on that over the time if our families choose to leave. Fortunately, out of our 110 homes right now, we've only had 5 move. We've had 4 taken out in foreclosure, but we received those properties back. So a total of 9 have left a Habitat home since we started in 1991.
Okay, I just would say that I also, with Board Member Hay, I really think that the upgrade has been really dramatic, and the neighborhood really looks nice, and it's been a long time coming. So I'd be in favor of what's being asked.
Mr. Chair?
Yes. Mr. Buchanan?
Just a quick question on the moving the money. Do we need a motion to move the money?
Yeah, we're going to need a motion to approve
Separate
this.
motion, or can all be one motion?
May I ask a question?
In a minute.
I believe it can be in the one motion.
Ken said
Okay, Mr.
one
Merker?
motion.
Yeah, I'm still not comfortable. Mr. Carrageorge brought up 3 options. I'm not sure which path we're taking in the sense of payment, sales. So can you explain that to me, please?
I'm looking at 2 options, and now, after having a very brief conversation with our executive director, I'm down to 1, where we would do it over a 10-year period. We would have a soft second for a 10-year period, allocate the $72,000, and that way they're able to do the 132, and I think Mike can live with that, and I think we can too. So
when you
that's
say-
my motion.
You're saying this is, again, excuse my thickness, stubbornness, or whatever you want to call it. You're saying it's paid off over 10 years?
Yes.
That's what Vivi,
paid
you
back
also
It's not paid back,
No, it's
it burns
paid
off.
Yeah.
Turned off.
burnt off.
It burns by them remaining in the home.
Okay, you feel Vivi, you feel the 10-year is
That's you can either do it 10, you can do it however you feel, and
Well, I just don't like longevity in the sense of dealing with money, especially if it's something could potentially go
it's
wrong.
not coming back. It's not going to come back in
It's a
the
write-off.
Okay.
form of cash.
Okay.
I'll tell you that.
Okay,
Second his motion.
I just had a question.
Okay, we have a
Before you
motion,
make
now
the-
discussion, a second discussion, further said. Mr. Casello?
Okay, when we brought this up, was it probably June, and there were 2 agencies developing homes there. The moderate homes was subsidized by HUD. Is that correct?
The CDC was
the
getting
city
their
money
moderate
from
homes,
HUD.
some NSP, which is HUD.
Right.
They got $200,000 from the
Right.
city to subsidize their moderate homes.
And they were willing to take on and finish the job at that time, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but they couldn't give us a timeline that would be done.
But there was really no timeline as far as them getting the money, as we later found out. Is that correct?
They already received the money, I'm sorry.
They already got the money from NSP, and from my understanding is that money's gone.
Yeah.
Where it's gone, I don't know. So
But at that time, they had the money to finish the project.
that's only subsidy.
I remember the debate. We were having a debate here whether to give it to gentleman here or the agency.
Not the
And-
money, the let them complete the project.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And they were all set to go. And then they said, well, whatever you want to do. And we voted to let them. And now you're saying you can't finish the project on the numbers that we agreed upon at that time. You got to come back and get another $132,000. You're telling me how we can do that is put a soft second for 10 years. We're never going to recoup the monies themselves, but that'll burn off in 10 years. Is that just basically what
We're actually
what's in
giving
front
them
of us?
72,000, they already got the 60, that makes
72,000.
132.
No, Mr.
Right.
Chair, that night we approved 300,000. So even if it goes up to 132,000, that is still far less than what we actually approved.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
there was discussion about including the source of the funds in the motion. I didn't know if Board Member Carrageorge wanted to do that or do a separate motion.
Yeah, it needs to come out of the Boynton Beach Boulevard Fund. I figured everybody was going to agree to that, because that's the only place we can pull it from.
I'm just suggesting it should be
I'll put
clear
that in
it's
the
part of the
motion,
motion.
yeah, I'll add that to the motion, that the funds be from the Boynton Beach Boulevard account, the design line item.
The seconder agree?
I still agree.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Show the motion passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1. 5 to 1. Okay. We go on to, thank you. New business, consideration of special events and promotional assistant application grant for the art and fresco event.
This is one of our first applications under this program. This program we instituted last year to sort of kind of bring some structure to people coming before the board asking for money for to fund events. And this is an event in the Boynton Beach Arts District. This is part of the Art Palm Beach, which takes place in the Convention Center. Art Palm Beach has been going on for a number of years. It's an international art fair. Art Synergy, this is the first year they've done it, that Art Palm Beach has put this on. It's a county-wide initiative to promote all the other art districts within the county. And if you look at this, it's by your desk. On the back of this shows the different areas that they'll be promoting throughout the county. Art al Fresco is the one that is taking place in the Boynton Beach Arts District, which is just west of 95. It is within the CRA district. What they will be doing is they'll be bringing people by bus from the convention center. People can sign up for these tours, go on these art district tours. They'll also be taking them down Art of the Avenues on Ocean Avenue so they can get exposed to these different areas within the county, these emerging art districts. Some are emerging, some are established. Ours is what I would consider emerging. This is a new event for Art Palm Beach, the first year, and the fact that Boynton Beach was included in it is I think it's a coup for the city. We would need a variance if you were to consider this because the actual event, although it's within the CRA, it's not within the program boundaries. However, I am recommending it because it has such a great background. Art Palm Beach is a huge event. It's very, it has great criteria, great background. It's going to bring people to our area that would not normally come to our area, would not normally see our area. They have a budget of $18,390 that they have. They're getting in kind and raising on their own, and then they're asking us for $5,000 out of the that line item, the special event grant line item. So I think it's a great branding since we're doing so much art in the city anyway. It's such a great branding marketing opportunity. They bring legitimacy to this event, being part of Art Palm Beach. I think that's why I'm recommending it, even though it's not within the program geographic boundaries. It's outside of the program geographic boundaries, but because it brings Art Palm Beach and Art Synergy with it, I think it does give us some bang for the buck.
Yes.
Couple things. I think it's a great event. I'm familiar with Art Palm Beach. Someday they'll get to be Art Basel. I know Rolando just understood that. But we are not sponsoring, and we cannot sponsor. Yet on this flyer, it has us listed as a sponsor. And we can get in trouble with the Auditor General and those type of folks because we're not, under our mission, we're not to be sponsoring. And it clearly has here sponsored by. If you, yeah, and that concerns me. And the fact that it is a slight variance from what we normally have under our guidelines may also create a problem, and I hope it doesn't, and that's where I'm going to ask for Ken's expertise on this, because I really think that this is, from an economic development standpoint, I think it's a good thing. And I think that we can defend it from an economic development standpoint, but I clearly want this understood that this is consideration of a special events promotional assistance grant, not a sponsorship. And that has to be clear because I don't want us going to get in trouble, okay?
And a question, Mayor?
Go ahead.
Okay. My hesitation is your hesitation, meaning that I don't like the idea that it sounds the way you're speaking, Mark, that it's 90% enough, 10% only that something could happen, 90% we're safe. So Ken, I don't like that question mark in there.
Well, there are two questions. The sponsorship issue, if this is not a sponsorship and shouldn't be, that should be made clear in any promotional materials. The second issue, I'm not quite as familiar with the setting up of this program, but if the program boundaries are a policy of this board that has been set up as a policy and not part of any statute or law, and the project is within the CRA boundaries, and the funds will be utilized to advance the purposes of the redevelopment plan, then I think you have the power to in essence, excuse or make waivers of your own policies.
You again, pardon me for hearing a question, you used the word think. In other words, what I'm wanting to hear is declarative, meaning factual, definite. In other words, and I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a mole.
Where, just, since I used it as a figure of term, where did I say think? And
well, I'm listening,
No, I'm not saying I didn't.
Okay, no, you used the word think. I mean, it's just something, I just want, I'm in favor of it, but Mr. Karageorge has a way with words sometimes that puts a smile on my face, but, when there's a question,
Okay, well, the expenditure of the funds, as long as they advance the purpose of the redevelopment plan and are within the CRA, is acceptable. The board makes a determination that, notwithstanding the program boundaries, this meets your purposes, you can waive your own policy. Again, I do tend to agree on the sponsorship.
Okay, now I can sleep. Thank you very much.
I got a question.
Yes, Mr. Costello.
When other events come forward, whether or not boundaries are, you give them consideration? Is there a criteria how you give economic development, all that, but other venues would be given consideration?
I think you got to weigh what they come forward with. Do they come forward with the backing of such a prestigious, event like Art Palm Beach, and or are they just saying, I want to have a picnic in my district because it's a nice thing to do? You have gotten those requests in the past without any, either matching funds or anything like that. And I would recommend to you in those situations, no. It doesn't meet any intent of the statute. And there's no economic development benefit. There's no benefit to the CRA and as far as economic development. So that would be my recommendation based on that. This obviously brings people who would not come here to our district. So there's a huge benefit for $5,000.
Chair.
Drew? Board Member Hay?
I just wanted to echo those things. When I look at this particular list here, we're getting a lot of bang for our buck here, as it has been stated. We're bringing in some top-notch people who would not normally, we wouldn't have that people flow into our area. And I think down the road there will be some real good benefit from this. I look at it as a good marriage at this point. This is something that we need to do because of the large scale that it is. Now, if Joe Blow across the street would want to do something, and just because he wants to do it and he wants CRA bucks, I can't see the value in that. So I think when something like this comes up, we need to look at each one individually on its own merits, and I think this particular one merits support by the CRA.
I guess my question is this in our plan? I always go back to the big meeting we had where I said, don't do it if it ain't in your plan. Can we justify this as being in our plan?
Economic development is in our plan. The Arts District was not actually envisioned in our plan. We're updating the downtown master plan. It's part of the strategic planning process that you guys all just went through. The actual Arts District was not envisioned because somebody had to create it, which Rolando created it. That's how things happen. You know, if somebody comes along and creates a whole new idea for something, and it takes off. So, but it is in the CRA, and it is economic development, because such things that people create like him do create economic development. They do create interest in your city. So economic development is in the downtown master plan, and we have an economic development plan separate from that. So I would say that as far as that goes, yes, it's in the plan.
Will you be comfortable with the auditor justifying that to be part of our plan? Okay, then what is the deal with the waiver word? Why are we wavering? Why do we need a waiver?
Because when in the actual special event grant application, there's an area that geographic area that we defined when we adopted this program last year.
This doesn't fit in it, I guess.
It's outside of it.
Yeah.
It's just west of 95.
I understand all that, right. Okay, what do you want to do?
Chair?
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion,
Second it, please.
but I want...
Wait, I don't know what the motion is
Oh,
yet.
I thought you said it.
I want to approve the funding for this
Okay.
with the understanding that we are approving it as a grant, not as a sponsorship. It does help economic development. I want to commend the Arts District. They have stuff every month that they're bringing people into our city that are spending dollars and being entertained, and it's a positive thing. And this will enhance that even more and create more economic development and maybe fill a few more spots on Industrial Boulevard.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion, second. Discussion?
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Mark, and Mayor, I'm sorry. This is, how should I say it simply? Do we define this as a one-shot attempt? And then if it's a good thing...
They have to apply. They can only apply once a year for any... That same group can only apply once a year.
Okay.
Okay, my last question is, how much does that leave us in this fund that we're drawing the $5,000 from?
You've already approved $10,000 for the Red Hot Blues Cruise.
We have a total of $20,000. This would leave us $15,000, and the board at the budget meeting had wanted us to put aside $10,000 for the chamber event, $5,000 for Saturday, and $5,000 for Sunday. We still have not received an application from them yet, so those funds are set aside for that event if they do apply and the board approves it.
So if they apply and we approve this one, that will leave us $5,000
correct.
left? Okay. I understand. Okay. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Show the motion is unanimous. Okay, discussion of paddleboard launch in Boynton Harbor Marina.
Good evening, Board Chair, Board members. Mike Simon, Assistant Director for the CRA. The item before you was brought to staff by a CRA board member for the sake of discussion in whether or not to explore adding a paddleboard or kayak launch platform or area to the existing marina. So other than providing staff with direction on exploring if that's possible, there's no action item to it other than that at the request of the board member, we're bringing it for the rest of the board to direct staff in that way. We currently do not have a designated kayak and paddleboard launch site. It wasn't part of the reconstruction project. Last summer, or I guess late spring, the dock master Brian Smith and I met with the paddleboard business that's across the street at Ocean Plaza to try to see if we could accommodate a paddleboard rental operation there in the marina, and at that time our research was not successful in finding a location that would work for the safety of paddleboarders and kayakers and the commercial vessels that we have in the marina. We didn't have a location, but if the board so wishes, we certainly can look at it again and report back to you as to whether that's still the case or not.
Yes, Mr. Board Member Costello.
Those circumstances still exist as
Yes,
far
sir.
as safety.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I was looking at the pictures of the fishing vessels in there. A kayak or a paddle boat, I think, would be quite dangerous.
Yes, sir. And I'm sure that the proponents of and the desirable to have the launch and to have some place to come in and out would say that the jet ski rental next to Seamist does provide, I believe, a kayak rental, but not paddle boards. The location they're in, it's private property. It's their own. They can decide what to do. But with the Seamist and the other vessels as large as they are, and I believe the proximity that we would be having to put the launch, theoretically, I mean, I can get into the whole process without coming back next meeting, but we currently don't have a vacant slip, so the board would have to kind of have a policy direction on getting rid of a tenant or not allowing another tenant to come in if one left to create the space. The boat traffic is an issue. Height of our fixed docks, you can see from the pictures I provided of where we were and where we are now. You would need an empty slip, and you'd have to designate it as a non-rent producing slip and kind of, set some parameters around and acknowledge those issues. For those that want to attend the restaurants and paddle in and go to the restaurants and paddle out, I think there are, again, without doing the research and having pictures and all for you, the Two Georges has a small floatable dock. It's sometimes open for paddleboarders, sometimes there's boats in it. It's kind of more of a restaurant-oriented, I guess, solicitation of that paddleboard use. Intercoastal Park has a launch. JC Park has a launch.
Mike, how much, an average, do we rent those slips out? I know it's by per foot, or
yes, it's
just an average number.
I think the minimum is between $475 and $525 on a minimum boat. Like if your boat was smaller than a foot, I think.
So we would lose that. We would lose that income.
You'd lose that income.
And what would the paddle boards and bring in for income or beneficial financial?
It would really none. I think it would literally be just like it
would create more of a liability than a financial gain.
I think that's what we might find. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Merker.
I'll use the word responsibility, and what I'm hearing, I personally don't think I want that responsibility. I think it's the responsibility of the paddleboarders, the responsibility of the ownership of the property, and I don't see why we should be involved.
Okay, Board Member Hay.
Just a couple of questions come to mind. Any other cities around here have those type of paddle board docking? I mean, what I'm envisioning, how you're going to park these things. I don't see the clear picture here. And are there any commercial people into this kind of activity?
I think that those who have used paddle boards and kayaks, plastic or otherwise, would agree that you kind of operated on your own. The city has provided 3 launch areas that I'm aware of: JC Park, Intercoastal Park, and Boat Club Park, where you can ramp in and ramp out. The county has a somewhat of a floating dock over at the ocean, their intercoastal inlet park there on the other side. There's also a county park just to the south of Ocean Avenue Bridge. These are generally not in high commercial areas, I would say. You don't have restaurants and bars and things like that right on top of those floating launches. If you were able to pull into Two Georges on your paddleboard and lift it up and put it out and go eat lunch and do that, I don't think that the Two Georges is going to stop you, and I don't think that there's enough people to warrant them creating their own designated spot. In Delray, for instance, there is not, at Deck 84 or at the Veterans Park, there are not separate designated kayak launch or takeout points. If people are doing it, they're simply doing it on their own somehow. But
Mike, I'm out there a lot, and I don't know if that's big business, but I don't see that many when I'm out there. Is that something that's Is that big business or what?
From my understanding, the request
To
is
give
coming.
up a slip for that?
I would not. I think the finding would be. I would certainly probably not recommend losing the revenue on a slip. If there was another area within the marina or somewhere near the marina that we could put a launch that was safe and adequate for egress and ingress from the water to the land, then you're really just providing a little platform for people to get in and out of the water on. You're not losing revenue. But at this point, I haven't been able to find a place that we can do that would accommodate both, I think, a simple launch and exit point from the water, given the height of the water, and we've got the private marina to the north, our commercial marina to the south. It's the city right now is embarking, as you know from the commissioner hats that you wear. We are undertaking a Parks and Recreation and a Parks assessment and the blue ways and green ways study. These kinds of things are incorporated from a leisure standpoint, but also to bring in opportunities to get people closer to businesses and some economic spin-off from those green and blue ways. We know where the launches are now, and they're not on top of restaurants for sure, but there may be an opportunity to pull one in closer or to tie it into something else in the future. But right now, the request, I believe, is coming from just paddleboarders in the area that like to do it, that would like an easier way to get in and out to have lunch. And I don't know how that fits with the commercial marina we have.
I'll just say that I'm not in favor of this, and I don't think it's the right location. And I feel like Harvey Oyer / Boat Club Park is the right place to do that. We have plenty of facility there, plenty of area for them to launch, and that was the ideal place for me. I'm not in favor of doing this at the marina.
Fair.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the one who put this on the agenda because I had been approached by 4 or 5 paddleboarders, and I noticed that it was a growing sport on the weekends. And whether they were going out a boat ramp or whether they were going out of the marina, wherever they were going out, I would see them on the intercoastal and going down as far as Del Rey, and sometimes they're going all the way up to Peanut Island. And I was approached by a couple of the paddleboarders, and they asked me, and I said, well, I see problems with this. And I said, I really don't want to give up a boat slip rent to make this happen. In fact, I won't. And I encouraged them to talk to Mike, because I figured between Mike and Brian, they would be able to come up with a solution, because the two of you basically run the marina. And so when Mike and I talked this through, I said, well, I still want to present it, and I'd like to have one of the people from the group that approached me, give what specifically they would like to see. And one of those people is here tonight, Marcia Torso, and I like the fact that we have multiple launch and egress and access throughout our city, but I have the same concerns that you do. And I wanted to be able tonight to definitively be able to direct staff to either go forward or not go forward. But I wanted to give Marcia her opportunity to speak to us and kind of educate us as someone that does paddleboarding, that's somebody that lives in our city. Many of these paddleboarders are city residents, and they've approached me, and I think that the courtesy would be to let
Okay, if you
them
quit
speak.
talking, we'll bring her forward.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marcia Torso, and I had this whole thing prepared. But honestly, if you're saying that you don't see people paddleboarding, that is, you're not out on the water, number one. I have been in paddleboard traffic jams in the canals. I know the people are out there. It is the fastest growing sport in the United States today. And the average paddleboarder, they're in their late 30s, they're highly educated, they're affluent, and they're fitness motivated. That's people that you would want into your city. Over 10 million boards were sold last year, or this year. So it's a huge sport. And for you just to say there's not enough people, you're completely wrong. It's Riviera Beach, Deerfield, Delray, they bring in huge crowds for paddleboard events. I mean, that's all. The restaurants can benefit. I mean, you're missing the boat, I believe.
Mr. Mayor, just a point of information.
Sure.
We didn't say it's a bad sport. We're talking location.
Sure.
I've seen them on the canals and the waterways,
Right.
and there's many of them. What's all we're saying is the marina the place to launch and have them swimming around out there?
You know why it is a great place? Because to be able to get off your board and be able to, not just Two Georges should be able to benefit, but all those great restaurants on Ocean. I can't tell you how many times that I have got off my board and I've asked Dean at the Inlet Park to watch my board while I drove then to Little House or somewhere to have brunch just to come back. I do believe people would take advantage of it if it was there. It's not there, so, you can't really say what's going to happen. I have pulled my board out of the water to go into Two Georges. I mean, they don't want us there. I mean, you're blocking the sidewalk. You can't use the docks for the boats. The boaters will not have that. You're just going to make an enemy. I wouldn't do that. I mean, I just think I think there has to be a place. You don't have to look at that canal. Isn't there, like, by the fuel, at the end of the dock there? That would be a great place. It's right on the intercoastal. You don't need a big, huge area. You just need a place, a floating dock, to pull your board up. You don't even have to secure it.
I'm not familiar with it. How does a paddleboard work? I'm not even familiar with it. How do you do that?
Ever see that? I know. I've talked to Dave. He never saw it either.
So it's a board you stand on and use a pole to
And you use a paddle.
paddle?
Right.
You get one for Christmas, man. So.
You need to get off the golf course and onto the water. You live by the water.
I hear
It's
you.
a great asset.
I don't have any problem with it. I think if you enjoy it, it's a great sport. The location's my thing. I don't believe that's the location. I think we have, and obviously you go a long ways on these things. You talk about going all the way down to Delray up to Peanut Island like that. You can go,
Well, not
so
Peanut.
going out of Boat Club Park shouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think.
May I say something, please?
It's not a problem.
May I throw something at you?
Yes.
Since you brought my name into the picture.
Yes.
Goes like this. What I heard, that basically we on the commission are wrong in the sense that the numbers are large and growing. So, let's assume you're correct. Well, if that's the case, is this space, if it does grow, and you are getting tremendous numbers in Delray and Riviera Beach and wherever else you stated, Deerfield, is this area big enough? And I brought up the word before, Mr. Attorney, what's our responsibility? What's our danger? What could happen if the space is too small and there's loss and whatever other adjectives and adverbs you want to throw?
Deerfield has a very small area that they do events.
Then the only thing I personally will recommend, since it seems, I'll speak only for myself, ignorance on the sport, then can we table it?
I think we need to give them direction here and move on this. We don't need to table it and drag it
Well,
out.
if you
Let's
don't
go
know
somewhere.
something, then how do you make a decision?
I know all I need to know. I got my decision.
Well,
so.
where? Where's
Board,
the
if I may-
decision?
if
Well,
I
I'm
may
going to
say-
ask right now.
Well, that's what I've been
Somebody
doing.
Chair, the item before you is simply to decide whether or not to give us direction to research it further. It's not a vote or an item
Yeah.
on whether to do it or not.
I'm
Just
not
to
in
whether
favor
to
of
see if it
pursuing
can
this
work.
any further.
That's all.
Well, what do you want to do here, board member?
Well, I'm in favor
Rather than
of,
staff donate, initiating all the time involved in it for something you wouldn't be interested in doing, we're just going on the direction of a board member's suggestion from you. That's
Mr.
all.
Chair,
Yes.
I'm not in favor of going, okay,
I was going to say, wouldn't this be better addressed with the Blue Waste, Green Waste project that's ongoing?
Bingo.
Yeah, if they want to incorporate that, that's fine. If they want to incorporate part of that, but I'm not for them spending the time now to pursue this. We got too many other things going on down that marina. We're trying to bring it into something for people to come down and assemble.
if they were going to pursue it for Oriole Park or something like that, I would say go ahead and look at it. But if you're going to look at the marina, I'm against that. I don't want to even entertain that. Okay, but I would entertain one of the other parks, like Oriole Park.
I agree. Mr. Costello, where are you at?
I'm not in favor of pursuing it to be placed in the marina, Mr. Mayor.
And I concur with both Board Member Hay and Board Member Costello, because Mike had already done the research, and he and I had discussed it. My thing is, I didn't want to alienate a citizen and a taxpayer in our city and that group. But I just cannot see the logic in that location at this time.
Okay, we got, I think we have concurrence there not to pursue it at this time.
I have another question. Mike?
Yes, sir.
Are you making a declarative statement that you don't think this is the right spot?
Left that up to us.
That's our call.
That's our call.
I think, you brought it to the table. You have an opinion. I'd like to hear an opinion from you.
Mr. Kerr George brought it to the table. He just presented his thoughts.
Well, you're contradicting, okay? If you bring it to the table and you bring a representative, an employee from the city to talk about it, then I have a right to ask if he has an opinion.
You have an opinion?
We tried to get a business to do exactly what the public is asking, just to use as a thing sitting there. We were trying to create a place that a business could open up there and become a commercial tenant, just like a charter vessel. And it was problematic from many levels. And while I think there are some identifiable locations, I still think you'd have to research it further on the widths, what Army Corps would allow to put on. When you go out in front of the seawall, to the regular, to the boating public, to the average person sitting there eating, it looks like a great place to stick something. There are tremendous amounts of hurdles to go through to add extensions into the public right of way.
You have consensus from the board not to pursue it.
I'm happy to do the research.
No, we don't want you to.
It's okay.
The consensus says don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're moving on. Item C, 2014 CRA board meeting dates. Any questions on these dates?
I need you to let me know if we can change the one for Veterans Day to the following Wednesday, November 11th, if we can change it to the 12th, the following Wednesday.
Because that's a holiday, right?
That's a holiday.
Sounds good.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Sounds like you have consensus to do that. Is that all, the only question there? Executive Director's report.
Just letting you know, we have 2 new businesses in the CRA as of this month. Barefoot Fishing Charters in the marina, Maximum Chiropractic on Southeast 2nd Avenue, and Lacesse Development, they are actually going to be submitting on the first week of January, not the 5th, but they are submitting their site plan which they're calling it 500 Ocean, that project, and Family Dollar, which they're coming hopefully in. We will have to change that date. We had a little problem with our notice of intent, but they are still interested in developing a Family Dollar in the heart of Boynton. And I do need to mention to everybody our boat parade, our annual boat parade, which we have 30 boats registered this year, is Friday at 5:30. We have a viewing stand this year, which we normally don't have, and we have all kinds of events for children. Santa will be there, the Marines will be there. Marines will be picking up Toys for Tots with Cito in the water. If anyone's having a party along the water at your condo or your big house in the water. So please bring Toys for Tots. We are doing that this year again. So we look forward to seeing all of you at Two Georges and anywhere along the water you choose to be.
Just to help you, because I know you're Vivian, just to help you, because I know you have concern with the seating and all, I'm not going to be able to make the boat parade.
Okay.
So I won't be there, and
all right.
nobody. So you'll
okay.
have extra
I'll take
seats there.
Seat then. And also, I need to let you know the special meeting scheduled for the 17th is not.
That's my question.
Yes, it is not. There was an error, not on the date, but in the actual notice of intent. So we have to republish the notice of intent, and so we have to set the time going again for 30 days. our error, staff error, sorry.
So there's no meeting? We
There's
just
no meeting.
disregard that,
You
right?
do not have to come at 6. Come at your regular city commission time, 6:30.
Okay.
Okay.
Just before I adjourn us, I wanted the staff, the ladies up in the city manager's office, asked me to get from the board members, how many of you are going to actually participate on the team the council commission is putting together for the barrier-free park? You know, that day we're having that 5K or whatever it is. She needs to know how many is in. You'll be in.
I'll
You'll
be
be
in.
in. Are you on the team? No. You're on the team? Yes, Mr. Cannon?
Running?
It's we put together a team for that 5K barrier-free park thing. The commission decided to be a team.
Oh, okay, what's the date?
It's in February.
For the running.
February.
5K?
Yeah, we'll put you down.
Put you down? Okay, thank you.
Are we all on it, right?
I'm on it. You're all on it.
Who's not on it?
Marker's not on it.
I'm not
You don't
on
want to be on
In
it.
your own neck of the woods?
That's right.
Okay, anything else? Meeting adjourned.